Never show someone a crochet project you love unless you want them to immediately pick up a hook and start making it themselves. Because some of these projects, they are so good that your yarn stash is about to become a problem. I've put together a list of the most beautiful crochet projects out there right now. The kind that stop you mid-scroll, make you save the photo 3 times, and then make you think, okay, I need to make that today. And I'm not talking about basic dishcloths or beginner squares. I'm talking about stuff that looks like it came from a boutique store, but can actually be made at home with a hook and some yarn. So, let's get into it. But first, I want you to think about the last time you saw a crochet project and thought, that's too hard for me. Because by the end of this video, I have a feeling you're going to look at some of these and realize they're not as impossible as they look. In fact, some of them are surprisingly beginner-friendly. They just photograph really, really well. Okay, let's start with something that's been everywhere lately, the crochet bag. Not just any bag, but those structured, chunky, market-style tote bags that look like they belong in a summer editorial shoot. You've seen them, the kind with thick cotton yarn, maybe a little jute mixed in, with a simple but clean stitch pattern that makes the texture pop. These bags are seriously one of those projects where the finished result looks way more complicated than the actual making of it. Most of them are just rows of a single stitch, sometimes a moss stitch, sometimes just half-double crochets. But when you work them up in a chunky neutral or a warm earthy tone, the result is stunning. People on the street will ask you where you bought it, and you get to say, I made it. That never gets old. What makes crochet bags so satisfying to make is the speed. With thicker yarn and a bigger hook, you can have a finished bag in a weekend, sometimes even less. And once you make one, you will want to make them in every color. I'm warning you now. Next up, crochet cardigans, specifically the oversized, flowy ones with wide sleeves and an open front. These have been having a serious moment, and for good reason. A well-made crochet cardigan is one of those pieces that feels handmade in the best possible way. You can see the love and the work that went into it. And when you wear one you made yourself, there's this quiet confidence that comes with it. Like, yeah, I made my own clothes, no big deal. The most beautiful versions I've seen use a simple lace or shell stitch for the body, which gives them that light, airy look without being too open or too clingy. Soft yarn makes a huge difference here, something with a little drape to it, not too stiff. Alpaca blends are amazing for this. They give the cardigan the soft halo effect and makes it look incredibly high-end. And if you're worried about sizing, most open cardigan patterns are very forgiving. You mostly need to get the length and sleeve measurements right, then the rest kind of figures itself out. Now let's talk about something a little smaller but just as satisfying, crochet sun hats. Specifically the wide-brim kind that you see at farmers markets and beach days. Made with raffia or straw yarn, these hats are genuinely one of the most impressive-looking crochet projects you can make, and a lot of the patterns are easier than they look. You start from the top of the crown and work your way out in a spiral, increasing as you go until the brim is as wide as you want. The texture of raffia yarn does most of the work for you. It just looks incredible straight off the hook. Finish the brim with a ribbon or a little crochet flower, and you've got something that honestly looks like it's from a high-end accessory shop. The thing about these hats is that they're a great project for warmer months, but people are also making them year-round now as a wall decor piece. Hung on a hook in a bedroom or a living room, a beautiful crochet hat adds this really organic, warm texture to a space. It's functional and decorative, which is kind of the dream. Moving on, crochet plant hangers and wall hangings. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Macrame has kind of taken over this space. But crochet wall hangings are different, and I'd argue they're even more interesting because you can do so much more with them in terms of stitch variety and texture. The most beautiful ones mix different stitches, something textured at the top, maybe a little lace in the middle, and then long fringe or tassels hanging at the bottom. Add in some wooden rings or driftwood to hang it from, and you've got a piece of wall art that genuinely looks custom. These are also great if you want to use up yarn from your stash. Chunky neutral tones work really well. Creams, tans, warm grays, but I've also seen some incredible ones done in sage green or dusty pink that look like they belong in an interior design magazine. And the thing is, you don't need a pattern to make something beautiful. A lot of crochet wall hangings are freeform. You just play with stitches and textures until you like what you see. Let's talk about crochet flowers for a second because they deserve their own spotlight. Not the stiff, old-fashioned looking ones. I'm talking about the new generation of crochet flowers that are so realistic that people do a double take. Roses, sunflowers, poppies, dahlias, all of these can be made in crochet, and the best versions are made with thin yarn or even thread with a small hook that gives them this delicate, detailed look. People are using these for hair clips, brooches, bag charms, and even framed art pieces, where they arrange a bunch of different flowers together in a shadow box. The effect is genuinely breathtaking. If you've never tried crochet flowers before, start with a simple rose or a sunflower. There are so many free tutorials out there, and once you get the hang of working in the round with petals, you'll start seeing flowers in everything. You'll look at your yarn and think, that could be a peony. Now I want to bring up something that might surprise you: crochet tops and crop tops. Specifically, the kind that look like they were made for a summer lookbook. These are having a massive moment right now, and for good reason. A well-made crochet top is cool in every sense of the word. Lightweight, breathable, and so unique that no one else will have the same one. The most beautiful ones I've seen use a simple shell stitch or a V-stitch worked in fine cotton yarn in shades like white, cream, black, or warm terracotta. What makes these tops so special is that crochet has this natural stretch and drape that works really well for fitted tops. And because crochet inherently has little gaps in the stitch, they're perfect for layering over a tank or a bikini top. The finished product looks high fashion, but most crochet top patterns are not actually that complicated once you break them down. A lot of them are worked flat in rectangles or panels and then seamed together, which means you're not even doing any complicated shaping. You're just making rectangles and joining them. That's it. The stitch pattern does all the heavy lifting. Let me also mention crochet blankets, but specifically the kind that make you stop breathing for a second when you see them. Not your average granny square throw, although those are also beautiful, but the kind of blankets with intricate stitch patterns that look almost woven or quilted. Bobble stitch blankets, C-to-C blankets that create a full pixel art image. Temperature blankets, where each row is a different color based on that day's weather, creating this unique stripe of colors that tells the story of a full year. These are the blankets that take time, yes, but they are so worth it. Because when you're done, you have something that's truly one of a kind. No one else in the world has that blanket. It belongs only to you. Temperature blankets in particular have this emotional element to them that other projects don't. Every row means something. That cold blue row in January, that bright yellow row in July. By the time you're finished, you've got a visual record of a full year of your life. That's not just a blanket. That's a memory you can wrap yourself in. And finally, let's end with crochet stuffed animals, also called amigurumi, because nothing on this list gets more of an immediate reaction from people than a perfectly made little crochet creatures sitting on a shelf. The details on the best amigurumi projects are unreal. Little embroidered faces, tiny posable limbs, miniature accessories like hats or backpacks. People make bears, rabbits, frogs, cats, mushrooms, tiny people, fantasy creatures. The range is endless. And they make incredible gifts. A handmade crochet stuffed animal is one of those gifts that someone keeps for decades. It's not just a toy, it's something special. The technique for amigurumi is actually very consistent once you learn it. You work in the round, increase and decrease to shape the pieces, stuff them, and sew them together. Once you've made one, you'll find that most amigurumi patterns follow the same basic logic. And there is something incredibly peaceful about working in the round on a small project. It's easy to carry around, easy to pick up and put down, and the moment you sew on those little button eyes and see the character come to life, that's one of the best feelings in crochet. So here's where we're at. We've got bags, cardigans, sun hats, wall hangings, flowers, tops, blankets, and amigurumi. 8 categories of projects, all of them gorgeous in their own way. And what I want you to take from this is that beautiful crochet does not always mean complicated crochet. A lot of these projects are more about choosing the right yarn and the right stitch than about mastering some insanely technical skill. The basics of crochet, chain, single crochet, double crochet, slip stitch, can take you surprisingly far when you pair them with good materials and a little patience. The best thing you can do right now is pick one project from this list. Just one, the one that made your heart do a little jump when I described it. Bookmark a pattern, pull out your yarn, and start. Don't wait until you feel ready. You're already ready. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I've got even more crochet inspo coming your way.